What's up, fellas and ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages? Wake Up Mintzy on the first winter day, really, in Chicago. I'm freezing my ass off. It's snowing. It's windy, but we're here. It's late November. They call it the Windy City for a reason. And, hey, at least we've got Stella Blue to keep us warm. Check out Stella Blue's got some ugly Christmas sweaters coming out, too, for Black Friday. You can find it at Stan's Donut Shop. Only way to keep yourself warm and keep your mind right in the winter is with Stella Blue. We're pumped up. Tulane football coach Jon Sumrall joining us right here off the top. Tulane clinched their spot in the American Athletic Championship game last week, and Coach joined us this summer. And I appreciate him giving us a little time here. He's on his bye week. He's feeling good, and he's probably wanting to dodge some rat poison for me because I've been seeing his Twitter. How are you doing this morning, Coach?
I'm good, Mintzy. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, but probably not as good as you are, man. This Tulane run, look, y'all are on a serious run, and especially the shutting out Navy on the road. That's one of the trickiest road games. You know, no one goes up there and really does that. I thought that I've been watching this team all year, and you've been improving every single week. And right now, I went through the stats, numbers, all that. I mean, there's so much to love here. I mean, Mintz has had a great freshman year quarterback. You got Hughes has got almost 1,300 yards rushing, and y'all got the number 11 ranked defense in the country, allowing like 177 passing, 113 rushing. Feels like a pretty complete football team. So you've been enjoying your first year back in NOLA, it looks like.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been a lot of fun watching this team come together. You know, I sat in the hotel room or the team meeting room last Friday night with our 80 guys in the travel squad, and I talked to them about there was 46 players in that room that were on last year's team, and there were 34 new ones, and there were 7 coaches that were in that room that were on last year's team, and there were about 10 new ones. And I've been in awe of watching this team come together. It's been a blast. We started a little slow, started 1-2, lost a tough one to Kansas State, won the road to Oklahoma, didn't play very good early, and fought our way back in, but couldn't find a way late to win it. And then really since then, we've kind of found our way to become a team. And you talked about the win at Navy last week. We went 35-0 up there, which is a really hard place to play, a challenging offense to defend. That was their senior day. Their last 20 senior days at Navy, they were 19-1.
Wow.
Okay, like they had lost one senior day in 20 years. And then the last time Tulane won up there was 2001. We had lost 6 of the last 7 games against Navy going into that game. And we hadn't won there in 23 years, where most of our players weren't even alive. Okay, and so
wow.
there's been some cool things about that game that were first for a lot of people in the program. But man, we're having a blast. We're having fun. We've got kind of a mini bye, if you will, this week because we play a week from today, Thanksgiving night, against Memphis here at home. So we've sort of been in a little bit of a bye. I call it the mini bye. And then we are actually officially into game week as of tomorrow.
Yeah, and well, look, I appreciate y'all taking that Thanksgiving night away from that egg bowl because I'm glad to get that off Thanksgiving, just personally. But man, just what a season though it's been. And then you got this mini bye. Look, I went through the numbers, and I love your Twitter because you're just hammering. Lane Kiffin and you both hammer the rat poison thing. But I mean, the numbers are something. And I remember you talked about when you were on the summer, y'all had a big quarterback battle 3 ways, and Mintzy was kind of the underdog. He was a freshman coming in, Ty Thompson, and y'all had 3 options, and you said he stood out in camp, and he wins the job as a freshman. And then both you mentioned that Kansas State game, y'all were leading at the half, y'all could have won. I mean, obviously, kind of a controversial ending, water under the bridge.
Yeah,
and then it was a game in the fourth quarter. Y'all were down by 5 at Oklahoma early in the year. And then just since then, like you said, it seems like you just really turned it on. And the thing I mentioned a minute ago is, Mintz is playing well, but y'all got to complete the balance on the team is what's so impressive. And I also want to shout out Tyler Grubbs, the Louisiana Tech transfer. He's been unbelievable for y'all.
Yeah, Grubbs has been awesome. Yeah, we talk a lot about don't eat the cheese, don't take the rat poison. There's always cheese at the end of a rat trap, and that's the people patting you on the back, telling you how good you are, being ranked, whatever that is. Like the same people that are telling us how good we are, they're the same people that'll dog cuss us as soon as we lose. You know what I mean? And so it's like you can't buy into all that. You just got to keep focused on doing your job, being the best you can be every day, enjoy who you're doing it with. But man, Grubbs is a great leader. He's a local kid. He went to Holy Cross from here, lives in the West Bank. Man, freaking stud. Went to La Tech out of high school. I remember hearing about Grubbs when he was like an 8th grader at Holy Cross because everybody said is like he just has like 10 or 11 tackles every game. And he's like in 8th grade. I remember it a long time ago. It's kind of a funny story on him. When he was leaving La Tech, I was the head coach at Troy, and I tried to get him to come to Troy, and he was on a visit with us, and his mom, Melissa, and me and my wife, my wife and his mom were drinking wine. I was drinking bourbon out my pool house. I'm like, man, we're getting this kid. Like, there's no way Grubbs didn't come to Troy. And like a week later, he calls me. He's like, hey, coach, I think I'm going to stay home and go to Tulane. I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, we had the best visit. And he's like, yeah, I just fucking need to be at home. Well, a year later, I take the job here. I'm like, hey, man, you can't get away from me. I'm coaching. You ain't got no choice. And so I'm privileged to have Grubbs. He's a phenomenal leader, a great teammate. And then everybody, and Darian's having a great year at quarterback, clearly. But, man, our offense is so complimentary, and everybody really our offensive line's playing at, I think, at an elite level. Our tight ends have been good players. We got good backs. Mekhi Hughes, I think, is a big-time running back. And our receivers are playing off the charts. So that's made Darian's transition to being the guy easier, more comfortable, if you will. And he's done a great job. He's growing. I'm so proud of the growth he's made and really think he's got a bright future.
Yeah, I want to shout out Mario Williams, too. He's been awesome. I mean, he's got, 700 yards. I know he's not the only one. You've got a balanced receiving core, but, he took a winding road from Oklahoma to USC to Tulane, and it seems like, I'm glad to see him hit the light at the end of the tunnel here.
Yeah, it's been fun. Mario's ultra competitive. That's probably his greatest trait. We went through our winter workouts. We do a deal in February called the Gauntlet, which is like you get paired up with one other guy all morning, and we do stations. We score winner and loser in every station. And Mario, he likes winning. Like, he's a competitive dude. He does everything with great effort, and he's been fun to watch. It's been fun to watch him have the success he's had this year, and he's really made our team better. And along with him, Yul Keith Brown, who transferred here from Texas A&M, Dante Fleming, who's a transfer from Louisiana Lafayette. Those guys have been big-time playmakers too.
So what kind of a late part of the year for the mini bye week thing, and obviously you're dealing with Thanksgiving and families and all that stuff. What do you do to keep everybody focused now that you've clinched this championship bid, which was obviously the goal, was to make the AAC championship? Is that just having to keep everybody focused? Is that tough?
Yeah, I mean, there's challenges. It's no matter where you're at this late in the year, I think you have to remain focused. And so whether it's going good or maybe not as good, whatever, you got to be focused on the task at hand. This team's really mature. This team's really driven. This team's really connected. I think the connectivity of this team is probably one of the coolest things to see with so many new pieces and new players and new coaches involved. But we're enjoying the week, man. Our guys, their last day of school until Thanksgiving break is tomorrow. So we're about to go out to the field and do a little walkthrough today, helping with their bodies recover. Tomorrow they'll be off. It'll be their day off for the game week. And then we've been doing a lot of community service stuff this past week. Our guys, yesterday, a good group went to the Children's Hospital here right down the road and next to Audubon Park. Tomorrow they're doing a lot of stuff with Son of a Saint, which is a local organization that mentors young men, young boys.
I love that.
And then we're going to do some stuff to help take care of some families in need next Monday and Tuesday as a team. And so I love this week. There's no school next week for our guys, and we get to do a lot of things together. One of them be practice football, which is awesome, but the other is maybe go out and serve some people and help all of us recognize how appreciative we should be for all the blessings we have in our lives, because we take so many things for granted. I tell my 4 young kids at home all the time, I'm like, you don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. Be grateful for that, And so I think it's a good time of the year for our team to kind of reflect and be thankful for what we have.
I love that. Well, I'll tell you what I know you're going to be doing Saturday. Are y'all having a team watch party or anything for this Army Notre Dame game? Because obviously Army's going to be the AAC championship. Not getting to the rat poisoning rankings thing, but that conference championship game would be in NOLA if Army lost, because y'all are 20 and Army's 19 in the playoff rankings. But regardless, Army win or lose, I mean, you got to watch the game to scout them, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll watch it. We practice Saturday morning. Saturday is like a Monday in our game week, getting ready for our Thanksgiving night game because we're 2 days ahead. So Saturday's really like a Monday then. And that Army Notre Dame game is at night. So we'll watch it and keep an eye on it. And I talked to Monk I think Jeff called me on Sunday. And so we're friends. I've coached against Army the last 2 years at Troy. So Jeff and I are buddies. They do a great job, man.
I think he's done the best. I think people don't I mean, I know they're on feet, but I think what he's built there. I mean, because it's unbelievable.
He's a good football coach, man. And I got a ton of respect for how they play the game. Like, they're just physical and grimy and tough and competitive. And we played them 2 years ago at Troy, my first year at Troy in 22, and the score was a freaking rock fight, man. We won 10-9. It was basically like just one of those old school black and blue, grind it out. And that was like one of the most physical games I've ever been a part of as a coach. Like, I'm watching our kids and their kids, and it was just a battle, man. They play everybody that way. They're so tough. Got a lot of respect for them, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, and then Memphis next week, look, high-flying offense coming into New Orleans. Not any kind of – I mean, before the season, Memphis was probably the favorite in this conference. That'll definitely be a challenge for the defense.
Huge challenge. They were the preseason pick to be the conference champ. They're 9-2. They've had a really good year. And when you watch them on video, you feel like you're watching an SEC team athletically. Like, these guys, man, they are really, really talented. And so it's going to be a big test for us here at home. I love the way they play. I think they do a really good job. Got a lot of respect for them as a program. They've been to 11 straight bowl games now. This will be 11 straight at Memphis, which that's impressive. I mean, Ryan Silverfield's doing a great job there. But you look back, the success that program's had going back the last decade is really, really impressive.
They've sent a ton of athletes to the NFL too, just like running backs, receivers, skill guys. I mean, going back to when Norvell was there, and hey, I mean, Norvell's old OC, Kitty Dillingham, tearing it up at Arizona State too, doing amazing stuff. But no, that Memphis program has been super impressive for a while, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, they've been good, man. They've been really good. I mean, I think they've probably won 9 or 10 games as much as anybody in a season in the last 10 years of college football. Yeah,
no, it's super impressive. And then, I mean, obviously you can't watch the rank. You just got to focus on what's in front of you. Any coaching advice to Wyoming or UNLV or Colorado State for playing Boise if they
well, kind of a cool deal. So the head coach at Boise, Spencer Danielson, he was a player at the University of San Diego when I was coaching there. So
oh wow,
yeah. So and I'm not that damn old. All right, so like Spencer's a young dude, done a great job. The only tip of advice I'd give, and I haven't watched Boise play a lot, is like, tackle that running back. Golly, he's a freaking monster. And I don't get to watch him much, but the numbers he's putting up, it looks like it's a daggum video game.
Yeah, no, you're like Dirk Cutter too, calling plays, man.
Yeah,
talk about a throwback from the past. Doing a damn good job up there. And well, I'm about to let you go before, but hey, one of my favorite things about Coach Sumrall and me, we have a common bond for widespread panic. Coming back mid-February, Jimmy Herring has completed his treatment for cancer. So they got it lined up for where it's like right after football season. So hopefully maybe you'll see.
Hey, time's up good. Hopefully I can catch a show this off season, and always good catching up with you, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Oh yeah, now like I said, if y'all get that home championship game, I'll be there Friday night because I saw it be a Friday night, December the 6th. I'll roll wave, baby.
We got sideline passes, all access, whatever you need, cuz. Come on.
Heck yeah. Thanks to Coach Jon Sumrall of Tulane. Follow him on Twitter, and just don't give him any rat poison because he's going to troll you. All right, appreciate it. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you this morning. We're about to be joined by Tyler Moody. Awesome catching up with Jon Sumrall of Tulane. Just done a phenomenal job. and he's downplaying it because he has to as a coach. He won back-to-back conference championships at Troy in the Sun Belt. He's about to could win a third in a row at Tulane. I mean, just one of the rising stars in college football. I wasn't going to ask him about any coaching carousel stuff, but, I know a lot of fans are in my mentions because a lot of schools want him. I know that, but I love that he's doing so well at Tulane, and Tulane's been a great fit for him. NIL world, they got money. They got a new stadium at Ullman. Man, they've really ascended to one of the top G5 programs in the country the last few years from what Willie Fritz built, and now Coach Sumrall take it to another level. And, I really hope – I feel un-American cheering against Army against Notre Dame, but I want to have that Tulane championship game on Friday night, December the 6th in NOLA, and I'll be rocking on the sideline supporting the Wave for sure. Tyler Moody about to join us here in a second. A bunch of fun stuff going on at the Stool as always. Stool streams this afternoon. We've got a Jeopardy matchup with Jersey Jerry, White Sox Dave, and me, three of the true brilliant minds at Barstool, if there ever were any. But join us for that right after the Yak. That'll be fun. We've been having a bunch of good streams lately. Kate did a good job with the Cars.com one yesterday where I was definitely not very warm out in the Cars parking lot. That was a lot of fun in our world record stream. And Megan Making Money won the paper football stream. I'm just getting excited for this weekend. Tonight, we'll have a stream for Steelers-Browns. Kind of a weird one tonight for the Steelers. Look, the weather looks terrible in Cleveland. It's like 20 to 30-mile-an-hour winds, rain. Going to be one of those just super mucked-up games that happen in Cleveland off Lake Erie a couple times a year. Steelers are like a 4-point favorite. Over-under opened at 39.5, dropped all the way to 36.5 because of the weather this week. And this is one I'm very curious about on the Steelers front because Pittsburgh's 8-2. They're having a great year. They're coming off a physical, just awesome win over the Ravens, 18-16. But like you look at the Mike Tomlin era Steelers, these are the games that he screws up all the time. They're the best underdog ever. You can just literally, if Pittsburgh's an underdog, you can just like bet on them blind and you make a ton of money. He covers like 70%. But he's notorious for losing one or two of these on the road a year against kind of bad teams. And Cleveland's going to be fired up. I know they had a crappy effort in New Orleans. They got blown out 35-14. I think Taysom Hill's still running all over the Superdome turf against them. I don't know how Jameis Winston's going to deal with this weather tonight. Curious to see how that happens. But I think this is a spot where Cleveland's going to fight. Now, I like Cleveland in the points. I think this is a letdown trap spot for Pittsburgh on a short week off a big win. And so I'm very curious to see what happens on this front tonight. But join us for that stream tonight, Steelers and Browns. And what's up, Moody? How are you?
Hey, what's up, man? How we doing today?
Doing good, man. Coach Sumrall, man. What a just beast of a human being.
Yeah, he seems like a heck of a guy and definitely got things working right down there in Tulane.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we're touching getting into NFL. Steelers, Browns tonight. I was saying I have some concerns about Pittsburgh tonight. The weather looks terrible, but these are the games Tomlin notoriously screws up when they're playing bad teams on the road as a favorite. And like Tomlin, I was saying it, and I'll repeat it. I mean, just Steelers are like the best underdog ever. Struggle as a favorite. I kind of lean Cleveland tonight.
I could see that if it was any other team. I think the fact that it's Cleveland, I can't get on board with that personally. I think Jameis is going to struggle mightily tonight to do anything against that Pittsburgh defense. I mean, Pittsburgh's defense has been incredible as of late. Jameis is turnover prone. I think he's going to have one of those nights where he turns it over 2 or 3 times and Pittsburgh wins this game because of their defense. I do think Cleveland may be able to cover here, but I don't see any way that Cleveland wins this game outright personally, Ben.
Well, we're going to Barstool stream for that tonight. Jersey Jerry obviously fired up for the 8-2 Steelers. And then just looking ahead, I know another big weekend. Obviously on my mind, Big T and me heads up for the final 2 in the Barstool and DraftKings end zone crown Stoolvivor is what it's called. And what we're doing, we're flipping a coin at the beginning of the stream on Sunday to see who gets first pick, and then whoever gets first pick, then somebody else picks after. And at noon, if both guys score, then we do it again at 3. If neither guy scores, we do it again at 3, and then it's over if one person has a touchdown and the other person doesn't. So, but we're playing for a $25,000 free bet thanks to DraftKings, proud DK partner. I've never had a $25K bet in my entire life, Moody, so I'm obviously That would be pretty wild and fun. We could pull this off.
Yeah, that's a hell of a sweat, dude. I don't think, for somebody that bets our size, that's as big of a sweat as, you're probably ever going to have. Like what's the biggest amount you've ever had to win on a bet that you thought was realistic, Ben?
The biggest I've ever had realistic to win.
Yeah, not just some crazy parlay that you put together, but like something.
Some futures that were big, like 10K is probably my biggest, but I've never had anything that was that big.
25K is going to be one hell of a sweat.
Yeah, for sure. That would be awesome. So, and I've got an idea what I'd do with the bet, but I can't look ahead. I mean, looking ahead's like Coach Sumrall just said, rat poison. So we got to win this week, but that's gonna be a hell of a stream on Sunday. That I'm looking forward to that, and then just getting to just briefly, we hit college football hard yesterday, so I'm not gonna go too hard at it, but I got to reiterate this Ole Miss Florida, the two games to talk about are the Ole Miss Florida and the Indiana Ohio State. Moody, as this Ole Miss Florida game comes closer, I'm feeling more and more confident. I think Ole Miss is gonna. I really feel good about it. Saturday, 11 a.m. in the Swamp. I think Florida with DJ Lagway, he can't move with his hamstring injury, and I think the Ole Miss pass rush is gonna eat him alive. And I really feel, I know it's a sketchy spot on the road and the Swamp, but early kickoff, Ole Miss healthy off a bye. I think you're gonna see a great Rebel effort, and I think they're gonna roll on Saturday.
Well, that's one thing that Florida struggled with as well as elite pass rushes, and no doubt that Ole Miss has one of the best in the country. So I do think that Florida's in for a rough one here. Lagway played well last week despite being injured, but I got a feeling it's going the wrong way for Florida this week.
Yeah, I feel good. Feel good about that. And then the biggest game, though, got to be discussed. I don't know if you've been following all the Twitter stuff of these Indiana fans this week. Man, sports is so weird. And I know that's why it's the greatest, is the fan base and the passion. But Indiana went from like America's darling to now everybody's just wanting them to get killed and hating on them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I think it's an unbelievable story. They're undefeated, going to Ohio State. They're about 13.5-point underdog. And it's like everybody's turned on them now. What's going on here?
It's crazy. Sports fans can be so wishy-washy at times. Like one week you're their hero and the next week you're not. It's so interesting. We see this all the time with coaches, right? If your team doesn't perform one season, you're all of a sudden on a hot seat. They want you out of there. It's just crazy how fast some of these fan bases can turn.
That game's interesting to me because my instincts think Indiana's like a real public underdog, which always scares me. And this seems like the spot Ohio State would show up. But Ohio State losing an All-American center this week to a torn Achilles, dude, that is not nothing this late in the year. When you have that center quarterback exchange and chemistry, that's a tough loss. And they'd already lost their left tackle, so now they're playing without two of their best offensive linemen. And that's going to slow me down on betting Ohio State Saturday. That concerns me. And Ohio State, all year they've had all these. They're a great team. Defense is elite. They got talent. I mean, nobody's quite two just superstar receivers, two stud running backs. Will Howard, a little inconsistent throwing the football, is kind of my only concern, really, when you look at the Buckeyes. But I don't know. Like, I know I've been riding Indiana all year. I don't know if I can take them here, though.
I still think Ohio State may be the best team in the entire country. I know everyone's kind of – and Oregon deserves to be the number one team in the country. Don't get me wrong. But I will not be surprised if Ohio State beats them on a neutral field, if Ohio State beats them in the college football playoff. I just think Ohio State is the one team that can beat Oregon. I mean, they were that close to doing it in the first time. I think Ohio State I think they beat up on Indiana here.
That's my instincts are saying that a little bit too, but we'll see. Also, Dave Portnoy in the news as always. Bet $100K on Alabama 10-1 to win the national championship on DraftKings yesterday. I kind of quote tweeted because Dave made a lot of comments about what I said when I told him to take Ole Miss 35-1 before Georgia, and he gave me props when Ole Miss went to who's now 11-1. And I quote tweeted, I said, Dave, it was supposed to be Ole Miss 35-1, but time will tell. Obviously, Bama's got more of a championship pedigree than the Rebels, but I don't know. I wish Dave was on the 35-1 journey with me. I'm not gonna lie, but the Bama 10-1, I can't fault the logic, and I think feels like they're peaking at the right time. Their defense has improved. Milroe. I think one thing about the Bama bet too that people aren't going to realize as a factor is a lot of these playoff games and bowl games are on turf indoors, and Milroe running on the turf is a different animal, and that favors him rushing. And, Georgia had a lot of problems stopping that in the SEC championship last year in Atlanta. And I think that's a factor that people aren't going to really realize and analyze, that Milroe in those dome games is going to be even tougher to stop. So I don't hate his bet. I think 10-1 is a good price on Bama. I think DeBoer's a great coach. And, all they got left is basically, they're at Oklahoma as a 13.5-point favorite on Saturday, over under 47. Then they got Auburn at home. I think they'll be fine in both those games. So, and then they're going to probably play either Texas or Georgia in the SEC championship.
Of the college football hopeful teams, which quarterback do you trust the most?
I'd say it's either Gabriel or Milroe. I'm a big Cam Ward guy too, but I just don't think Miami has enough talent around him to actually compete for a championship. Man, I'd go, like I said, I'm going in those playoffs and those dome games, I'm going Milroe, because when he runs, man, that's just a whole different animal. And you saw what he just did to LSU. He had 12 for 184 rushing. And just having a mobile quarterback like that is just it's a tough thing to stop. That's for sure, and especially when DeBoer is such a good play caller. So I'll go with that. The other game that's interesting to watch on Saturday, real quick before we hit some NFL, your old boys, Texas A&M, laying 2.5 at Auburn. I think it would be the most Aggie thing ever. Lose at Auburn, beat Texas at home the next week. I swear I could see it. This is a rat game. The point spread on DraftKings is telling you it, them being a 2.5-point favorite. I know Auburn's had a bad year, but they've lost a bunch of close ones, and they have been playing better. Tough game on the road at night down there. And, this Texas game next week, they hadn't played A&M since 2011. It's like $1,000 to get in the stadium right now in the nosebleeds in Kyle Field next Saturday. I don't know. There's like a vibe in the air that I could see it, where A&M drops this Auburn game and then they ruin Texas. And if A&M beat Texas, Texas might not get in at 10-2 because their strength of schedule is so bad. And it's not even their fault. Everybody's bagging on Texas for the strength of schedule. They scheduled at Michigan, who won the freaking national championship non-conference, and they play an SEC schedule. And Florida's got a third stringer out there. Oklahoma sucks. Michigan's been bad. It's like they tried to play a tough schedule. It just kind of didn't work out like that. It was weird. It's crazy.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think A&M can beat Texas. I do think it would be the most A&M thing ever to lose to Auburn and then beat Texas. I completely agree with you. I don't think A&M can beat Texas. I think the Longhorns are a little too complete, and their quarterback play is a little too good for A&M. I don't think the Aggies really are going to be able to stand a chance. I understand it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. I've seen some crazy things happen at Kyle Field. I just don't think this A&M team can beat Texas, to be honest with you.
And the only other, it's a pretty good college football slate. There's two real interesting Big 12 games I want to comment on. Shador, Colorado, playing Kansas, who's all of a sudden hot. Kansas is 4-6, but they're a real good 4-6. They've lost a bunch of close games. They beat Iowa State and BYU the last 2 weeks. This game actually in Arrowhead. Kind of interesting. But Colorado's like a 2.5, 3-point favorite. Feels a little sketchy, to be honest. But that's a fascinating game. And then another Big 12 game is BYU playing at Arizona State. Arizona State, all of a sudden, really the winner of this game is pretty much should make the Big 12 championship game and play Colorado in theory. And I've been talking about it a lot. I just really think Dillingham at Arizona State may be, other than Sumrall, best young coach in the country that's on the way up. And I really just think he's building something. I kind of think they're going to beat BYU by like 2 touchdowns. I think you got two teams. That might be my favorite gambling game of the week. Arizona State's a 3-point favorite. But you got a spot here where teams are trending opposite ways. Like BYU's had an unbelievable year. They've only had 1 loss, but kind of been smoke and mirrors, pulled out a lot of close games. And Arizona State, really ascending the last couple weeks, blowing out Kansas State on the road last week. One of the more impressive wins I've seen all year. Kansas State's always tough at home, and they whip their ass. So I'm looking strong at Arizona State there in that one. And then going to NFL on Sunday, if you want to mention, I think one of the most fascinating games, people know it's big. This San Francisco at Green Bay game kind of fascinates me. Green Bay's a 2.5-point favorite, which makes me think Vegas likes the Niners. But, we keep waiting on the Niners to turn it up, and you talked a lot about, how Purdy's just not, he hadn't had it, he's not having the year he was having last year. He's been turning the ball over. He's been inconsistent. And Green Bay, I know you're a fan of them too, especially their defense. They pulled out that Bears game last week. I don't really know what to think here, but I just think it's fascinating because you almost got to feel like it's like the Niners' last stand. I mean, they really can't lose many more games.
Green Bay is so interesting. They're kind of like Kansas City right now. They keep winning close games. They're not blowing anybody out. They're definitely not covering. They're the one team. I went 6-1 this last week, and it was because Green Bay couldn't cover 5.5 points. Like, they're winning games, but they are not covering right now. So I would not be surprised to see this be a field goal game at the end, one way or the other. But you're right. This is a back against the wall type moment for San Francisco because there's a chance if they lose this game that they start kind of falling out of contention in the NFC West. Everybody else is exceeding expectations, and they're the one team that has fallen short of expectations. So this is a big-time game for the 49ers. They need to get a win here. I still lean Green Bay. I think they're one of the more complete football teams in the NFL. My big question mark is, will Brock Purdy start to return to the form we saw last year? If he does, the 49ers get a win here. If not, I think Green Bay picks up another important W because Green Bay is also in an important playoff race in their conference as well. I mean, in their division.
Yeah, no, we'll stick with the NFC West, too, because I feel like nationally people aren't talking enough about how big this Arizona-Seattle game is. And I know it's a game you've been real interested in. Seattle's only a 1-point favorite at home. And, I mean, this feels like it's going to be a hell of a game. And, I think it could be a sneaky fantasy game as well with like a 47.5 over-under. But I'm just curious. It's a hard one to call. But the ramifications in the NFC West are huge. And, boy, if Arizona goes and wins this game, you got to start taking them real serious. They went on the road here in Seattle after the heater they've been on the last few weeks.
Yeah, well, I talked about this yesterday during the Fantasy Football Factory podcast that I think this is going to be one of the higher scoring games of the week. Arizona's offense, obviously high power, but they've been playing much better defense lately. I've been surprised by how well Arizona's played the last couple games. I don't think that's going to be the case against Seattle, though. I think Seattle has too many weapons. I think they're going to make Arizona look bad the way they did the first few weeks defensively, and I'm expecting a shootout here. I think Murray steps up. I think Kenneth Walker has a big game, and I don't necessarily know who wins this game, but I love over 47.5. It's one of my favorite plays of the week, Ben.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this game. I like what you said. I think Walker's primed for a big game in this one. I think Arizona's run defense not necessarily the best, but looking around, boy, fantasy this week, you see that, man, I had a team, the bye week thing, 6 teams on bye, including Cincinnati, Buffalo, Falcons, Saints, Jags. I mean, it's rough. It's rough out there. I have a team that has so many buys that I'm going to have to play with like one starter down in one of my leagues.
I hope you're already in the playoffs.
I'm looking real. So I had like a huge debate. Where I'm 6-5, but I'm like the 4 seed and 6 teams make it, so I'm in a good spot. Like, I had a debate whether to cut Amari Cooper to get Tommy DeVito out there as a second quarterback, but I was like, I don't want to risk it because I think Amari could develop a chemistry with Allen these last few weeks, and he could be part of a championship run. So I just didn't think it would be – I thought it would be short-sighted to just try to drag 15 points out of DeVito 1 week. To make sure I win. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to play. I'm playing a 1-10 team, so I'm going to try to beat him without one guy. But it's.
I will tell you this, bro. I'm having my worst standard fantasy season I've ever had. In 2 of my leagues, I have had the most points scored against me by over 100 points. I also have the most points scored in those leagues, but I'm 4-6. And 3-7 in both because I've had so many damn points scored against me. So despite having the best team, possibly, I'm outside of the playoffs looking in both of those leagues at the moment, trying to fight my way into a playoff spot. And a lot of that has to do with injuries. I have never seen a more injury-riddled season. I've never seen a weirder fantasy season. And as someone that usually dominates these leagues, I'm a little bit scared that I might be missing the playoffs for – man, the first time that I can remember. I mean, I never missed the playoffs, and it is looking like it's probably going to happen in at least one of my leagues this season.
The beauty of it is you can do daily fantasy on DraftKings and join us in the $5 Pardon My Take AWL League. Moody, you're the overall leading scorer for the season in the Pardon My Take League, and then you got 4th last week.
Yeah, I got 4th last week, made some money. I made just over – I put in like $50 worth of total bets, made over 1,000 in DF – or right at 1,000. It was like $980 in DFS last week. I would have made a lot of money. I took Taysom Hill out of my lineup. I had him in as my tight end, and in order to make my flex fit, I took Taysom Hill out, and that cost me probably $10,000, Mintz, to be honest with you, because had I played it the way I originally had it and just fit anybody. I could have put in somebody that scored 0 points in my flex, and I probably would have finished in the top 3 in one of the big leagues I was playing in. So I screwed up, and I pretty much lost to 10x there, which sucks, but part of it.
I mean, still $1,000 ain't bad off 50.
Hey, I'll take it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just so tough because like the gambling and fantasy fallacy is like we're all fighting that greedy edge, you know? Because it's like no matter how good it is, it can always be better. Like that's just how life is. And like even me, like I had like the best week ever last week, and I could have won like 1,000 or 1,500 more. I was like so close on 3 other bets, but you can't look at it like that, you know? Just gotta be
you're
happy.
hot right now. I'm just trying to follow in your footsteps, you know, and maybe catch a little piece of the fire that you're dropping, so I can ignite my own over here.
All right, so next week, the office is closed next Wednesday for Thanksgiving. I'm running down to Mississippi like Tuesday late afternoon. What, you got chat?
Yeah, they were saying we don't care about your fantasy team. I agree. Nobody cares about your fantasy team. I was just throwing that out there. I just think it's been a weird fantasy season in general, and I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, we don't care about your fantasy team is the real
Oh,
estate.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, chat, I don't disagree. Well
I don't
played.
disagree either. Yep.
Well played. But anyway, I was going to say, Wake Up Mintzy, we're going Monday, Tuesday next week because we're office is closed Wednesday, and obviously we're going to be with our families for Thanksgiving on Thursday. I'm going to the Egg Bowl in Oxford for Black Friday as well. So we're going to do Monday, Tuesday. The fantasy pod will be coming. Did it already come out this week? Or does it come out? When's it come out?
It just came out, this morning at 8 o'clock, so we'll be sharing clips throughout the course of the day, and, check that out right now. It's live on Rumble and YouTube, and give that a check.
Heck yeah, man. Well, we're going to get out of here. Like I said, join us. We got right after the Yak, Jeopardy today. Me, White Sox Dave, and Jersey Jerry. Stephen Shea wrote all the questions, so that ought to be something for stool streams. Stream tonight for Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns. Then we've got the Sunday stream's going to be out of control with me and Big T trying to win this $25K free bet. And, let's have a hell of a day, and let's try to stay warm. Freaking snowing, windy out here. I mean, damn. The Chicago winter is upon us. So let's make the best of it. Let's drink some Stella Blue, and let's let it rip with Dude Wipes. You can find them at Walmart, Amazon, Target, all over the World Wide Web. Dude Wipes, man. It's a revolution. What a product. Y'all take it easy. Have a good weekend. Man, I love fall. The leaves are changing, football, and Stella Blue coffee. And this season, maple pumpkin pie. But my morning routine would not be complete without Dumpkin Spice Dude Wipes.
Oh, Mintzy, let it rip.
Cheers, furry fellas. Coffee that fuels you, wipes that clean you.